You're listening to The People's Pitch, the official podcast of Minneapolis City Soccer Club, brought to you by FootballStadiumPrints.com. Let's start the show.
And as I talked about just a couple minutes ago, as Joe Watt stands over this one, he appears to be the one taking the penalty here. This is a huge confidence booster if you're Duluth.
Worst case scenario for City right here.
And it stopped! Yes! And it stopped!
Totally redeems himself.
Matt Elder redeeming himself. Oliver with the right foot. The shot of the goal!
Oliver!
Justin Oliver will break the scoreless tie. And it is 1-0 Minneapolis City. Is Hutton now on the offense with the left foot. And it is now 2-0 Minneapolis City.
Good finish.
Nick Hutton taking his quick victory lap.
Hello again, friends. I am coming to you live from the quarantine studios because some a-hole decided it was a really good idea to send their sick kid to my kid's daycare last week, and I am currently in home jail. This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City Soccer Club. I'm your host, John, and Nate is not with me for this intro because we toss a curveball at you. Our original show plans for this week torn apart because we had such a great interview with 2021 NPSL National Championship owner from the Denton Diablos, Damon Gochner, that we decided to dedicate the whole show to his interview. So more to come next week on end of the year recaps for Minneapolis City 1 and 2. But until then, enjoy our interview with the Devil himself. As the NPSL season has been all sewn up for the 2021 year, it's been a whirlwind last couple of weeks for tonight's guests. We're pretty sure about that. We talked about it last time we were on the show in our championship preview, but it's such a breath of fresh air that the final for our league are two teams that are not the dusty old guard that are still hanging around onto those old NASL days. And rather they were teams that we actually give a shit about because they seem to fall in the same bucket of like-minded soccer folks that we like to align ourselves with. So we're pleased to be joined tonight by one of those said folks. Please welcome to the show, one of the good ones, 2021 NPSL Championship owner of the Denton Diablos, the Devil himself, Damon Gochner. Damon, welcome to our little slice of the soccer pie. I think I know how you're doing, but how's it going, man?
Man, I will tell you this. Being introduced that way will never get old. I will never stop anyone from that introduction because my friends, I get this, we were just talking off air that I'm doing amazing. I was out at the soccer fields all day today with youth soccer and multiple people, stopped by. Our goalkeeper that couldn't make the final because he was with the U.S. men's national team futsal. And got pulled into that camp, so we totally understand. So absolutely go. Esteban Vasquez, great guy, been with us since 2019, our very first season. I saw him today out at the soccer field. He coaches some girls' youth teams, and we hugged it out, and it was amazing. And so to say, my friend, I am doing amazing. I don't know that I can literally be any better right now at this moment in time as the co-owner of the Denton Diablos. And it does indeed never get old to hear that 2021 NPSL champions Denton Diablos. It's amazing. So yes, no, and listen, it's moderately bittersweet because we were, I respect your head coach Matt a ton. Dan, I think, is also in that circle of good ones. Dan Hodeman and the rest of the fam at NPLS City. So, we were hoping to finally get a chance to meet the Mighty Crows on the field of battle and wanted desperately to do battle, but 'twas not to be this year. So we will go back to work and we'll see what happens next year.
Yeah, we were talking about off air that something called Cleveland SC got in the way, but hey, that's why you play the games. So
hats off to them.
Yeah, absolutely. So first things first, I will say, I'm totally jealous that you guys won the championship this year, but I won't hold that against you for the next 30 or so minutes. But in all seriousness, huge congrats to you and your team's success this year. Like huge congrats. I mean, we get how hard it is, and to be on top of the heap is a big prize. So definitely congratulations on the victory this year.
No, listen, I 100% appreciate it. And yes, I think anybody that's involved or has been a part of a club for anything beyond a season or two knows the difficulties just day in, day out of of sometimes just getting your best 18 or your best 11 for any given day. So, I've said it before, and I will continue to say it anytime I get the chance. I am humbled and honored that I got a chance to work with the gentlemen that played for us this year. It was a really, really special group of players that all put their egos aside, put the team first, bought in, did whatever Coach Ramon Raya did and asked of them, and ultimately they were rewarded for it. And then secondly, Ramon Raya. I think, we talk a lot about different people and different players and golden ball winners and guys that get on hot playoff runs, but Ramon consistently pulled the levers and made the adjustments. And when you go back and look at our record of goals scored and goals given up in second halves, it's unbelievable for the second half how we performed throughout the season. So, and I'm a guy that looks at a lot of that stuff. And when you break it down, we scored like I want to say like 60 or 65% of our goals in the second half, and gave up about 80 to 85% of our goals in the first half. So when you do the math, you're like, wait, how can that be? It's like, yeah, we score a lot of second half goals to win games. We won a lot of games in the second half this year, 4 or 5 games out of a 15-game schedule. So, and to me, that comes down to having a deep bench, which I felt like we had one of the deepest benches in the NPSL. I mean, we've got USL, we got guys in Oscar Romero that were starting and winning USL 1 championships with NTSC 2 years ago in 2019, and he comes off the bench for us and comes in as our 75th minute super sub. Yeah, and it scored a handful of goals and had a handful of assists against Golden State, against Cleveland. So we were super deep this year. And then I felt like we had a really, really, amazing coach that was able to pull the strings and put us in a position to consistently find success week in, week out. We had 1 tie and one loss throughout the season, and avenged both of those by beating those same teams. So pretty special season.
We call that the brotherhood in these parts. You got to have a good brotherhood going into a season and throughout the season, and everyone bought in for the greater good, regardless if you're the guy coming on in the 75th minute, or you're the guy playing 90, or you're the guy that doesn't even make the 18 for a game day. You really do have to have all of that working together. And, like you mentioned, our coach, Matt, and your head coach, it seems like they're cut from kind of the same cloth, just really good at pulling those levers, managing the individuals, and keeping them on track.
Oh, 100%. And, Ramon had his hands full, because we have some guys that have played at higher levels that are to some degree, I hate to use the term coming down, but are definitely stepping. And if you have to get a guy an amateur reinstatement, that speaks volumes about the quality of player that you're getting, right? So, and it starts with our captain, Owen Warren. He played in the Northern Ireland Premier League for 5 years, played in West Ham's academy under Francisco Zola, like unbelievably mature guy at 27, 28 years old that suffered some unfortunate injuries or he'd never be here. So, but getting him through an entire season healthy and allowing him to play all the games, unbelievable there. So, it's like you said, it takes all of the pieces, but it takes a lot of fortune too. We were super fortunate in how our alignment to the West region this year. But at the same time, I think, to your point, Ramon, it was masterful at pulling the strings to take advantage of the opportunities we needed to take advantage. Take advantage of. And, and speaking of guys that really bought in, Antonio Perez led us to a Roja League winter and summer, really, really quality seasons in both there. And then, we had some guys coming in, Sam Coad and Trevor Amon, that were really, really good, special young players, fit, trim, and this is all they do. And that's a guy that bit the bullet, didn't make the 18 for the very first game. And then came in and scored big goals when we needed him throughout the year. Against Irving, he had a big goal. Multiple times throughout the season, came off the bench or started and had big goals. So to your point, man, it's just you definitely have to have you got to have everybody just bought in. It sounds so stupid and cliche and corny, but you got to have guys that are willing to understand, to your point, that it's a long season, and that if you ultimately want the medal and the trophy that's sitting over my shoulder right now, it's amazing, a beautiful gold NPSL medal, and you want to pop the champagne at the end, it means sometimes you got to put your ego to the side and you got to buy into whatever coach is saying and trust that he has a plan. And then sometimes it's not going to include you being the featured starlet.
Damon, before we get into talk, because we're gonna talk so much about your team. I want to make sure that we're getting a good foundation of like who are the Denton Diablos, and in order to really understand that, talk a little bit about yourself first and foremost, about how, you are the co-owner of the club. How did you get involved with soccer in the first place? Kind of what's your soccer journey, as we like to say, whether it started as a 5-year-old or it started as a 35-year-old?
Yeah, I did. No, it started about as a 5 or 6-year-old. I had a younger brother. My mom and dad never played the game, but my dad was a high school athlete. And so they put us in soccer, and my brother and I were both good and gravitated towards it. And my parents knew my dad was a guy that wanted me to play football, basketball, because he knew those sports. And I did. I played those sports growing up and lettered in football, basketball, and soccer in high school. And then I played for some really, really good club teams. Kind of got lucky. Very fortunate in life. My brother was really good, and so I kind of backed my way into some really, really good teams that won nationals, and guys I played with went on to play in the MLS and play overseas. And so, and that's back in the late 90s when, the MLS was just forming. I think my class in 97 or 2000 was my guys that I graduated high school with or college with were going eligible. And 3 of the guys I played club soccer with got drafted in the MLS. I did not, of course. I played collegiately. And when I got done with the game at 21, 22 collegiately, there was nothing really. NASL was kind of around, but not really. So, for the most part, I hung up the boots, went and got a real job, tried to figure out how to win a pretty girl and how to start a family and how to buy a house and all those pieces. And lo and behold, did some of those things, got lucky, and then had a son of my own. So fast forward to about 2012, he starts to come around, and like at 3, 4 years old, he's liking the game and wants to kick a ball and recognizes the game on TV and wants to sit and watch soccer with dad. And so he starts playing the game, and about 2016, 17, we found ourselves going to watch some NPSL games because his club coach at the time, Jamie Lovegrove, played for the Fort Worth Vaqueros, scored the NPSL goal of the year, I believe, in 2018.
Name sounds familiar.
Great player. Great guy, great player. But anyway, we'd go out to watch Jamie. And so we were Vaqueros season ticket holders for 2-3 years before I decided to ultimately to start the Diablos. So, the game has been amazing for me in relationships. I literally just got off the phone with my college coach before we hopped on the podcast tonight. And I haven't spoken to him in 15, 20 years, but because of the Diablos, he heard about the Diablos and heard about some guys from Midwestern going there and somehow started researching and found out my name and was like, hell, that guy played for me. Listen, anybody that knows me will tell the same things. I'm a guy that everybody asks me all the time, how do you get it done? Because I am constantly trying to just squeeze the most out of this little rock that God gave me as far as talent and resources. So, I play the game, I coach the game, I manage and own my team in the same way. And that's with the absolute best effort we can give and the absolute best attitude we can have. So attitude and effort in my household and in my clubs and my businesses and my teams, that's all we can ever control. So by God, we are going to have the best and we are going to give our best. So, it's real special for my boys to go out and represent. My bad. Go ahead.
So now that you and our listeners are best friends, similar question, but switching over to the team. So folks around these parts don't know much about the Denton Diablos. How did the team get started? How did it get off the ground? Yep. Like, tell us the club journey now.
Yeah, no, that's good. So, I mean, it's when you understand where Denton is geographically, it's north of the city of Dallas, north of the city of Fort Worth. It's from Minneapolis, it's about 800 miles just due south on I-35.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. It is. It literally is just straight down 35, 100% straight shot. You can go all the way to Brownsville or Laredo, excuse me. You can go all the way to Laredo on 35, which we did this year. So that's even crazier. But anyway, no, man, the Denton Diablos were formed because I loved going to Vaqueros games, and I thought it was really, really cool and really special. And at the time, I had a then 8-year-old, and I knew that the pathways of youth soccer in the Metroplex of DFW were kind of just messed up. And I thought, hedging the longest bet I could, that I would, anything when he was 16, 17 years old, I could create this club that he can come train with these guys that are really, really good. And so I know that's super selfish, but at the heart of it, I literally was sitting at a Vaqueros game one day and was like, man, I would love for Hayden to have this kind of organization to play in. The Vaqueros were awesome. They had some college kids that were playing. My club coach, a guy named Curtis Partain, his son Harris Partain was playing for the Vaqueros the first times we went and watched. So it was just this super special connection. So, it literally came down to one of my son's teammates actually invested in the Vaqueros. And instead of investing in the Vaqueros, I had a conversation with Mike Hitchcock, the majority owner of the Vaqueros, about starting the Denton Diablos. And we were sat in East Side, which is our jersey sponsor and one of our biggest sponsors and supporters of the club. But we sat at a tall top booth or table at East Side in March of 2018, I believe, and formulated the idea of the Diablos and started to come up with, what it would look like and how it would operate and some of those things. So never dreamed that we'd be sitting here, ultimately 3 years later with 3 Open Cup, berths that we've earned, with an NPSL national championship, with playoffs. And our first season was tremendously successful. And we felt like, wow, we really did a lot of things that the club had long-term envisioned, dreams of doing. So,
yeah,
it's just, it's crazy. It's super crazy.
How does that work? Because the Vaqueros play in your conference, don't they? Like, how does that work to have
Correct.
A guy kind of own or co-own 2 clubs in the same conference?
No, so there's some things that we do. Like, number one, we play both of our games against them, or any games that we play them in conference, super early in the season. So we literally, it's like the second game or third game of the season. So that the idea that there's any kind of sway or somebody's throwing games or trying to manipulate results because of the implications it could have. Correct. So that's all, there is none. You know what I mean? It's all, you're just fighting for points because you don't know where you stand yet. Number 2, there's absolutely no sharing of players. So like, we have like hard and fast rules, so for the Diablos, not only with the Vaqueros, but with some other clubs in our conference, that, hey, if you have a guy and he commits to you and you roster him with the NPSL for a season, he's not coming to our team midseason. It's just bad for business. And that's not to say that I don't want players playing. I absolutely want players to play. It's a 1 year. It's not even a 1 year. It's a 4-month thing. So if you burn your bridge in 3 months, then I'm sorry, you struck out, try again next season. From an NPSL perspective.
Yeah.
So
we've had that here where, like, primarily a lot of the role that I take on is like the player recruitment role. And there's just constantly that chatter from other players on their teams are like, who do I talk to about playing for you guys? And it's like,
how do I train with you for the rest of the year?
And you're like, and you have to just be like, you know what? Like, I don't ever want to be that guy, and if you want to come try out, then you need to contact us when the season's over, because it doesn't do anyone any good to kind of leapfrog those things. But yeah, absolutely. At the end of the year, if you want to make a switch, you have a job change or you move closer to the Twin Cities. Yeah, totally great. Come try out. Totally. But you need to, you're not scoring goals and there's a goal scorer sitting out there who is unhappy at a rival. You can't take that guy.
Yeah, well, you know what? It happened in the Lone Star Conference this year. I won't name names, but it happened this year in our conference. And so, I 100% vehemently agree with you. 100% steadfast. No room for, no margin or room for negotiation in that. But nonetheless, not everybody plays by the same set of ethos or standards in that regard. It's not illegal. Right? It's not illegal according to the NPSL rules or bylaws. And you don't even have to grant them the release as the club, even if they do indeed keep equipment or other, like, there's all kinds of things. It's crazy what you learn each season as you co-own a team. I thought in the very first year of NPSL ownership, I knew all the rules and regulations of the NPSL. However, I was sorely mistaken, because this year I was quickly educated to some new areas that I hadn't previously explored. So I am eagerly anticipating what's to come in year 3 and what new facets and machinations of the rules I'll be forced to learn and discover. So
there's always a new way to get your hand slapped.
Yep.
Totally. Trust me. And I am well versed in just about each and every one of those. I mean, listen, in the very first year, the very first game we played, I apparently got kicked out of the game, but the referee never showed me a red card and never told me, like, you have to leave the stadium. was like, get out of here. And I was like, I can be here. And he was like, no, you can't. And it was because I was
What?
inside of the fence, like on the field area. And I was like, no, I'm an assistant coach. Like I'm a co-owner. So it was a big deal with the NPSL. And so he said I came onto the pitch itself. And so I had video evidence of like, no, I didn't. And so the NPSL, it was like this whole thing, like very first game of me being an owner. And I had to get my legal counsel involved. So you can understand, I was like, oh, Jesus. Do I go full Cuban here? Like full cubes, Mark Cuban, because I'm a Mavs fan, and just fight this bitch and donate every dollar that I fight it with to charity locally so that everybody loves me? Or do I just shut up? So I just shut up and took my medicine. First game suspension I served was our road trip to Laredo. Cool. Nobody really wants to take a road trip to Laredo anyway. Nothing against Laredo. They have beautiful people, but it's a long drive. I love Laredo. JJ, Rishi, the whole family down there, the Laredo Heat, great organization. It's a beautiful city, but it's a long drive. It's a 7-hour drive for us, 7.5-hour drive, whatever. So anyway, second game I had to sit out, though, was our first home game in our true stadium. So it was our first home game at North Texas, all the pomp and circumstance pageantry. So I actually had a scissor lift donated by a good friend that's in that equipment rental business. So because the bylaws and the rules state you cannot watch the game from inside the stadium.
You just went above
the stadium.
You just went above it.
So I got because ours has a really nice wall around the soccer stadium. So I got a a scissor lift that was like 22 feet tall, so I could get up above everything and have this amazing. And I was going to have the owner's box, and I had a tiki umbrella. But I decided against it because, again, I didn't want to totally piss in the face of the league in like game number 2, or 3 or whatever it was. So all that said, for the league to have to come down to good old beautiful Denton, America, and host their national championship and put the VIP tent up in beautiful Denton Broncos Stadium. I am super glad that I ate my dose of humble pie, but nonetheless, I am not unaccustomed to having my hand slapped by the league many times.
Sounds pretty familiar what we got going on up here, but I'll digress.
That's why I love you guys.
I'll digress.
We, Damon, John and I and a lot of the city fans, we know our North Conference inside and out. We, of course, know the teams. We know all the challenges that a season in the North can bring, and kind of really down to what every team is going to bring potentially year in and year out, just kind of based on history and ownership. But really, outside of a few brief introductions, like via the playoffs to other teams in the Midwest, most city fans, including myself, we don't really know a lot about the NPSL outside of our bubble. Talk a little bit about what the Lone Star Conference is like, kind of what the competition looks like. I mean, right now it sounds like it's geographically huge, right?
It is.
What does that competition look like? Yeah, it's Texas, right?
Yeah.
What's it take to win the Lone Star Conference or to be successful in the Lone Star Conference?
That's listen, I think every conference thinks they're the best and the toughest, and it's the toughest road to hoe. Now, you guys definitely have, like, with you and the Torrent and, it's like, your region is really, really dense. You have some really good teams, all finished really high in the playoff rankings. We always feel like the Lone Star Conference is going to be deep. Midland went to the NPSL finals, I believe, in 2017. Yeah. So they're no slouch. The Laredo Heat won the PDL, so formerly the USL 2, I believe, in 2015 or 16, before they moved back over into the NPSL. So, and both those teams rely on heavily on collegiate players. Laredo has more of their own homegrown players that are mixed in. Midland is almost all kids that are brought in for the summer, housed, treated very much like the Des Moines Menace and like some other programs in the USL too. So they're going to be good. They're going to have a lot of kids that are fit, that want to compete, that are there for a purpose, that are relatively focused. And then you add in some clubs like Brownsville from the Valley. The Valley is just full of talent. You go down to this, and when I say Brownsville in the Valley, you're talking about the southernmost tip of Texas. Yeah. And arguably, I think it might be the southernmost point landmass wise, because Key West, you got to get to the Keys, right? So continental 48 landmass, Brownsville might be the southernmost. It's unbelievably far south, so far south. It's crazy. You're further south in Brownsville than you are in Monterrey, Mexico, which is insane to think about. Yeah, because Monterrey is up north. So it's insane how far south. The bottom of Texas just goes down forever. And we were there this season. So that's what, and then we went to Cleveland, which is so fun. So yeah, dude, the conference, the Lone Star Conference, to your point, is massive. You know what I mean? We have a 6.5-hour road trip to Brownsville. It's about 9 hours to 6.5 to Laredo, 9 hours to Brownsville, 5.5 to Midland. We didn't get to go to Austin this year because they took a break, but even Katie's 3.5 hours away. So we're super lucky that we have Fort Worth and we have Irving. And Irving's I say this was their first year in the NPSL. But they've had a UPSL and a Roja League, and they've been playing at a high level for 2 or 3, 4 years now. So they're a relatively veteran squad. So, we think that what it takes to win the Lone Star Conference is a lot of what it took to win the NPSL. Depth, right? Of course, talent, right? And then the right coach. But I think, what helps us through a really tough slate of a lot of games in a relatively short period of time was, our depth. When you look through, Trevor Amon got on a really big run through the playoffs, but when you look at the rest of that first 10-game season, the scoring is fairly balanced, and we have, I think, like 7 or 8 guys on the team with multiple goals. It's huge when you've only played 10 games. I mean, that speaks a lot to how we distribute the ball and try to attack from a lot of different angles. So, the Lone Star Conference is really good, man. You're gonna get a solid effort and a solid squad every year from a handful of 4 or 5 clubs, and then you're gonna get some teams that you never know what they're gonna bring. Vaqueros are normally really good. They made a run all the way till I think the regional finals or regional semifinals just a few years ago. Had a disappointing year this year, but otherwise they're really typically a good team. And Katie gave a lot of teams fits this year before we dispatched them in the semifinals of the Lone Star Conference playoffs. So it's typically a really good conference. It's going to be tough, and it's going to challenge in regionals.
So what I'm hearing is that when we complain about the 4-hour drive to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, it's nothing compared to what you guys have to get to Brownsville.
It's insane, man. It's insane. Yeah, I mean, the bus trips down there or like however you can get down there. It's no fun for sure. It's no fun.
So we all know at this level, I shouldn't say we all know, but the insiders know it's totally do it yourself. It's put together by spit and duct tape each season with the laundry list of to-dos and the oops, I totally forgot that thing, or oops, I didn't know I'm not supposed to do that thing. What's the makeup of your club from a front office staff, a game day staff, and a coaching staff perspective?
No, that's a great question. So from a ownership perspective, it's myself and Michael Hitchcock. I'm definitely more of a managing partner or managing director. I'm very hands-on in general, especially in life, though. And then this year, for a lot of different reasons, so I digress. But to answer your question, head coach Ramon Raya, he had a couple of assistant coaches. First assistant coach was Flor Benatar. She's awesome. Flor was a former assistant coach at North Texas on their women's program, and then also was the head women's coach at Texas Women's University for 10 years. She actually just took over as the Coppell High School women's coach, and Coppell High School in Texas is super successful. It's a really coveted position, so we're super proud and super congratulatory of her. And we were also, I'll be super, honest, I was super proud to have Flora on staff this year and to start to open the horizons of who the Diablos are and what they mean as opportunity-wise. Not just for our players, but for our coaching staff and for the community as a whole. Also on his staff go ahead.
I was going to ask as a quick follow-up to that before you dive into so how we started on, this year, it's different having a female on staff. We started out with 2 female coaches, in Tori Burnett, who is our second assistant coach, and then Allie Lipscher, who unfortunately got a professional coaching job in the WPSL, so we couldn't tell her no. You got to take that.
Yeah, but, that's amazing. Yes.
But how did your guys take to having a female coach on staff?
Listen, I think like anything, it was different, right? And so for some of them, maybe it ruffled their feathers, and if it did, that's great. They need to learn because I work with and for women all the time, starting at home for my wife and with my wife, right? And then extending there to, clients I work for, jobs I have all over. So, any notion that a woman is any less qualified or doesn't understand the game or whatever it may be is just absolute horseshit.
Right.
And we wouldn't stand for it. So, and we talked to the guys straight up and said, hey, this is what we're going to do. Does anybody have a problem? And I was just waiting for a hand to go up and say, yeah, I got a problem, coach. I want it. Cool. There's the door, chief. A lot of other clubs to go play for. Yeah, there's 2 other NPSL teams in the city, and there's about 12 UPSL teams. So there's another USL 2 team, a USL 1 team, and supposedly a USL championship team's coming up from Austin to Fort Worth later next year. So my point is there's plenty of opportunities. I'm super committed to being who we are, and that's an inclusive club that seeks to create opportunities for young men and in hopes of someday creating the same opportunities for young women to play the game, grow in the game, learn the game, and ultimately use the game for whatever personal benefit they want. So, to your point, we were super happy. Floor, I think she'll be the first to tell you she was hoping to be more involved. But as opportunities came up for her, she, had kind of missed some things, and it's okay, totally okay, because that's the nature of, Ramon talks all the time, and I think that's why he did so well at this level is, anytime you're in a team, you're going to have a plan, but you have to adapt. So, I think that's what I'm proud of my club for doing is consistently throughout the year adapting to whatever the new challenge was. Our very first game of the season, we played in a local community facility called Bella Park, which normally is really nice, and the city spent a bunch of money on, and we love it. But this spring was in terrible shape. So after the first game of the year, I had to have a call with the league, and they were telling me all the problems they had with it and the referees' reports and how we weren't going to be able to play playoff games there. And it was just like a total nightmare. So, but we had to adapt. And so thank goodness we had some good partners. And, I had some relationships, and our GM, Paul Donahue, did a great job of helping us get some of those things sewed up. And Joe Weber, our goalkeeper coach, made some calls and helped solidify some things, and we were able to get to Denton High School and use their facilities and ultimately host a national championship there. But, for the rest of our staff, beyond Joe as goalkeeper coach and Floors, our assistant head coach or assistant coach, we had a general manager and Paul Donahue, who was instrumental in just getting a lot of the logistics planned and sponsors sold and game days organized. On game days, with the team itself, we have another guy named Eric Patino, who was absolute crucial this year in keeping the guys just feeling like they're taken care of. So whether it's gummies and Gatorades or waters or having the jerseys cleaned and all the patches cleaned up and made sure they're ironed on tight, because a lot of times they start coming loose with the NPSL patches or our Diablos patch, just all those little things of, making sure if guys like Pedialyte on road trips, we've got the right flavor of Pedialyte or whatever they like to eat. But the reality is all of those little things add up because
they matter. They really matter.
Dude, when a guy knows, like I talk to my guys all the time. There's tons of pictures of me standing on the sidelines and our players scoring goals and then running over and finding me, out of the tons of people that are there and jumping in my arms and running over and it's because they know I care. It's because they know they can text me at 2 a.m. and be like, hey, can you get me some antacid, and I'll take the team van and drive over to a CVS or go find a gas station that's open or something. And they've seen me do it. And so I try to, to your point, like we have a great staff. Mickey was our game day operations guy. He did a great job all the way through the year. And then he had a bunch of vacation that he had planned. So you can't hate him at all. Like, yeah, he works for the school district. So he's got to take a vacation, and he was going to take it in late July, early August. Well, that's happened to me when we go on a magical playoff run. So we lost a lot of our support staff in the West Region Championship game. We had the smallest game day operations crew in the history of the Diablos, but we pulled off a great, and people will tell you we had almost 1,000 people there. It was awesome. We had the banners up. We had the flags up. And for that game, I did it all myself, and I'd do it again, and I'll do whatever it takes. And
you just got to do it.
Ashamed of it. Correct.
Yeah. The same thing happened to us. Like with
right.
The interns and everyone that you have, like everyone's starting to go back to college. Everyone's got other commitments, especially coming up at the end of July, beginning of August. And it's like, well,
listen, I'll be the first.
We just got to show up and do everything.
The first game is fun, man. It's a blast. And that second, third, and fourth game, it's still super cool and fun. That fifth game, it's hot as shit.
Yeah.
It's a grind. Yeah.
Yeah, that sixth game, man, that beer's not as cold and that pizza's not as rewarding. Like, like all the things we try, and like the shirt that you gave them's worn out now because they've worn it 6 times for 5 hours and sweated through it 6 times. So I get it. I get all those things. So we were super blessed. We rang the bell for the national championship. and had a bunch of kids come out. I say kids, a bunch of young men and women come out from the University of North Texas, which I'm an alumni from. Go Mean Green, call. Bob here is the UNT. That's our stuff. So, but Bob here is the UNT sports marketing dean. And he did an awesome job of just posting some stuff for us and getting, I think we had 4 or 5 kids come out and help on game day operations and help with ticket taking and all of it. We had 2,390 friends and family show up, is what I like to say. So we had 2,400 of our closest friends and family show up for that national championship game. And, I was super impressed by how well we were able to get everybody in and how smoothly it all went. We had concessions and yeah, nobody was throwing tomatoes at us or rioting. So I think we pulled it off.
That's always good.
Damon, you mentioned it real briefly, but Denton is on the north end of a massive Dallas-Fort Worth area, right? And
yeah, it's a cheat code.
With all of that real estate, is there like a local pipeline that you recruit players from? Like you said, there's lots of opportunities for people to play soccer. Like, are there colleges and universities that you draw a lot of players from, or
Totally.
Open tryouts?
So,
like, how have you found success building that roster?
100%. All of the above. So number one, yes, we've been super fortunate so to your point, DFW is about 7 million people, depending on how you slice and dice it. If you count every living body, it's probably closer to 8.5 or 9, but just on the census, it's 7. And it's massive, to your point. It's 60 miles north to south, and it's about 65, 70 miles east to west. And all of those are suburbs of Dallas or Fort Worth, period. So, and Denton sits 30 miles north of both Dallas and Fort Worth. So geographically, it's kind of off on its own. So there's a lot of talent, and there's no real, FC Dallas, and there's big youth clubs in the Metroplex that have been around for, literally decades. Solar, the Texans, FC Dallas, all of these youth academies are just churning out MLSDA. So the highest level you can play in the youth right now is MLS Next Academy in the U.S.
Yep.
And we have 2 of those teams in DFW, Solar and FC Dallas. They're about to get a third because the Texans is about to get their academy back. That means every year about 66 to 75 kids are pumping out of these academies, and FC Dallas can only sign about 2 or 3. The rest of them are going to go play college somewhere. And what they do is they go play college at Kentucky or UNC or Tulsa, Wake Forest, all over the country, and then they come home for the summer. And so that's been right out of the gate our very first year. That's exactly the model we executed. We went and found really talented players that were coming home for the summer, communicated with them, had relationships through our previous coaching staff, whatever the case may be. Now we've built pipelines with some schools like Midwestern State, which is I believe it's a 1AA or Division II soccer program, but they've had a lot of success and a lot of talented kids from our Metroplex area go there to play. So in the summer, they're coming home just an hour and a half down the road, and we get 4 or 5 every year. And we've had the same 4 or 5, and they've been great. And they bring in this year Trevor Amon, our leading goal scorer. Carlos Flores started almost every game at center mid. Amazing player. Julian Barajas had a handful of goals and assists. Brandon Serta, same thing, scored in the Cleveland State game, scored the overtime first goal. Like every one of the players that we get from there is just number one, a great player, but number 2, just an outstanding young man and the kind of kid I want my son to model his behavior and his effort and his attitude after. So, but SMU, we've had a great relationship there with Kevin. So, but we've also, had some guys that have played big games and started for us that came through open tryouts. So Owen Warren showed up and came to an open tryout, texted me like, "Hey, can I come try out?" I was like, "Yeah, man, you can come. Yeah, I got you." Like, looked him up online and was like, "Oh yeah, son, please come try out." Like,
John, you ever get those calls where you're like, "Oh shit, this guy's calling"?
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
And you're like, yeah. Do you need me to call you an Uber? You got a ride? Like, what do you need?
Yeah,
I'll get you there.
It's like a delicate balance because like we have players all the time, not all the time, but we have good players reach out to us, and I don't have a lot to offer because we don't compensate our guys because of the NCAA and up to this point, right? And so now with NLIs though and everything, it's different, right? So I don't know. I got it. Like that's a whole conversation I have to talk to the compliance directors about what can I do with players because they're still considered amateur, even if now like it's all different. So whole nother conversation. I digress. We've been very fortunate to maintain a lot of the relationships with the guys that came in our very first year. And then we've tried to run a professional club and really care about this. So little things like, protein shakes iced down and available after games and after hard training sessions, and Gatorades and tons of waters available, and giving them nice gear so they got some nice stuff to wear from the club. And when we go on the road, eating at decent restaurants and trying to get them decent food and giving them some choices and trying to treat them and really run the organization like a professional club, so that A, they get that experience, but B, they appreciate, buy in, and commit a little harder. And then C, they go tell their buddies, like, yeah, man, I played for the Diablos. Shit was dope. It was first class.
Yep.
Like, everything was super cool. They took care of me. Like, every time I turned around, the owner was, like hooking us up with stuff. When we go on the road, it was first class. Like, we flew to Cleveland, it was all good. So that's the idea, is that, we try to think about, how we're going to answer each next step with whatever decision we're making now, because we know that's ultimately all we have to sell.
It's so important to treat the players well, because there's so many other options out there. And specifically for us, it's great to hear that the same mantra is happening in the South, because in order to make the league better, you need to bring in better talent. And the only way you're going to do that is when you're not that team that doesn't have a proper training session, or, things aren't planned well. You show up to training and, everyone's wearing something different. And it's just those little things. And I think you nailed it. The best way from a recruiting standpoint to be successful is to have these players out there with their buddies who they already know are good, to be like, hey, man, my summer was awesome, and you played for this other shit team, and you can't do that. Like, you got to come over here and
100%.
doing it the proper way. And it's hard too, because, like we talk about it. At this level, you can't run an NPSL team like a soccer team. You have to run it like a business. And
totally, the budgets are big, man. If you don't, you better have somebody that's just got money and they don't care. It's like, cool, yep, I'm willing to burn 10, 20, 30, 40 grand a year, not worried about it. Let's roll. Okay, cool. Yeah. Then you're right. You just go have fun. But the rest of us in the real world are running it like a business.
Right. And if you look at it like a business, what's the number one thing you need to do? You need to treat your employees well so they stay, because they have talents. That's why you pay them. They have talents. Unfortunately, we don't pay people, but you have to find those other little ways in order to make them happy. And it could be simply as like having cool jerseys that matters to some people. And other things could be like, oh, thanks. But in other players, it could mean like, we have a pretty decent Muslim contingent in the Twin Cities, and during Ramadan, like sometimes it's letting the guys that haven't eaten all day, like maybe not train as hard, little things like that. Sure. Just being culturally aware of what your players need. They don't get that other places, and it's good to hear that. Well, like you said, you guys are one of the good guys that we like. So it's good to hear that we align on some of those things.
We're trying, man. I think the league is only as strong as its weakest teams, right? So we don't want to be those in any way, shape, or form, and that's what we talk about. We want to be the best team in our conference, and then we want to go, cast our lot against the best other teams in other conferences and see where we stand in literally everything we do. So esports, social media, video graphics, email marketing, whatever it is. So we absolutely are attuned. And listen, we're super lucky. Like you said, Trevor Amon played for Detroit City, I think 2 or 3 seasons ago. Another one of our guys played for Detroit City. When he was up at, he played at Valparaiso. And so I guess that's not, they scouted him there, and he had a friend there. So to your point, guys talk. And both those guys came and played with us because A, they were going to be in this area this summer. B, they knew guys that had played with us before for a couple of years, and they knew it was going to be a good experience. To your point, they knew we were going to train 3-4 times a week. The training sessions were going to be good, hour and a half, 2 hours. That we would have a head coach, and he would have assistants and at least an equipment manager, if not an assistant or 2 assistants with him at training sessions. And that we were going to have 25, 30, 35 guys at training sessions. So a lot of guys, a lot of action. We can go full field, 11v11. We can do a lot of different things.
And
it's worth remembering too. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
And having people come out and watch you, like it sets to put in all that work and have, 50 people
Totally.
come watch. If you got 100, 200, 300, you start getting a solid fan base. They know your name. They see you around town. They say, "What's up? Good game." Like that goes so far.
Totally. I mean, listen, we have most of our guys either coach, or if they're not in school, then, and even the ones in college, a lot of times in the summer we'll go coach skills trainings, or they'll go do the summer camps for the local clubs. So all of our guys have some kids that want to come out and watch the game.
Oh, for sure.
And so to your point, for them, I know if I could have even to this day, when my son was 5 years old and I was 32 or 33 years old and could still move and was maybe a decent player and could have entertained the dream, then I would have loved for him to watch me get a little run in, right? At a decent level, do an international walkout in front of 500, 600 fans at the stadium, right? Amazing. Let alone our Denton High School, where we played the national championship, it holds 3,800 total, and it holds 2,800 in one side, and it holds 1,000 on the other side. And we didn't put anybody in the other side, just because logistically it just means we have to get second set of security, so we just decided let's just put everybody on one side. We'll pray. I was praying we were going to have 1,400, 1,500 people there. Set a new attendance record, number one. The stands would look mostly halfway, if not full, with banners and flags and everything else. I was like, that would be great. So to get I don't know, almost 20, it was crazy. And so, for our guys to experience that, to your point, for their little brothers to see that, which, some of my players on our team have, 16, 17, 18-year-old senior and high school brothers that are the next group, the next crop. For my son, who's 12, 13, and his teammates and his buddies, and the 08 Diablos and our 2012 Diablitos, my little Diablos, and the Diablitos. And so to have the Diablitos there and all their parents there and watch the national championship, it's building something. And, I posted on Twitter, I took my wife to dinner Friday night because we hadn't had a date night and God knows how long. It had been way too long. So and my Diablitos gave me a gift certificate for coaching this past spring. We had another great spring. So I took her to a really nice steakhouse down the street, and a guy that was bussing the table across from us stopped, put his thing down, came over and introduced himself, let me know that he had come to an open tryout and tried out, that he didn't make it, but he totally understood and he had no ill wills, that everybody at the tryout was really good and he appreciated how he was treated and the respect he was shown. And he knew that how good we were. He saw us win. He was at the national championship, and congratulations.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
Oh, dude, I'm going to be honest, man. I'm an emotional guy. I'm a big, strong, tattoos all the way down the arm, massive beard. So a lot of people think, that I don't have maybe emotions, or I don't, it brings tears to my eyes when that happens, because people don't understand how humbly I started this club, and how humbly I expected us to grow, and how humbly I still believe that, we haven't achieved, even winning the national championship, we have so many bigger things to do within the North Texas soccer community. And I know our work is far from done. So yeah, man, it's super special to know other people believe in the dream like I do.
Well, let's build on that, because it's only your second season really playing, I think, right? We lost the 2020 season to the coronavirus, and so here it is, 2021, in your second season of existence, you win the national championship. How do you build on this? What does success look like for you and for the Diablos when you turn 5 or 10?
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I've looked them through it a handful of times. I don't know that Miami won it, I think, twice, but it was two different teams technically. It was Miami FC one year and then Miami FC 2 or something the next year, because they had a pro team. But I think nobody's won it back to back. And I don't know if any club has won it twice in general as the same club. So, listen,
run it back.
We definitely have plans with our youth academy. I think that I think soccer in America is broken. I think specifically pay-to-play soccer is broken. I think we've talked about doing some things like you guys have done with your futures program. I think that's absolutely commendable, and more teams should be trying to copy what you're doing, because it's amazing. And I think that's the way that we can take good kids that are 16, 17, 18 years old and give them opportunities to play and be organized and kind of start thinking about the game at a higher level. Because I don't think there's enough opportunities for that. Yeah, they play club, and yeah, they go to these showcases, and yeah, mom and dad pay $4,000 a year for this whole deal, and their coach is some bitter old guy. Like, I've seen this paradigm way too many times. Like,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean? So, and we've all been through that. So I think I really love what you're doing there, and we have similar plans. I think there's a place for NPSL soccer to fit in the paradigm and the structures or the pyramids of both U.S. youth soccer and U.S. adult soccer. And so I'm really excited to see how the NPSL leadership starts to help usher us into a new era where we can start to influence not just opportunities for young men, essentially right now 18 to 32, but maybe we can start dipping down a little bit lower with some, with an NPSL, 18 or an NPSL U15 or whatever those might be.
Mm-hmm. Man, you almost baited me into saying something I was going to regret there for a second.
Uh-oh. Say it. No regrets.
No, I can't. We get in too much trouble.
You did almost touch on this though. You're starting to. You must be reading the questions ahead of time.
Yeah. So our last question before we get you out of here, we told you about a half hour. We're now double that. But like I said, we get chatty. Last question. So everybody who owns or runs a lower league club has a take on what they'd like to see change in U.S. soccer. You talked about what you'd like maybe the NPSL to do, but think about it from a broader game perspective in our country. What's your thing you change?
Man, it starts at the very tippity top. We have to fundamentally shift the relationship of some and U.S. soccer. I think once we do that, then all the things that everybody wants U.S. soccer to do become more of a realistic possibility. The fact that the MLS doesn't own their own TV rights and that the USL doesn't own their own TV rights is fundamentally paramount to the restriction of the growth of the game. I want promotion relegation as much as anybody else because everybody comes up to me and asks me the same question. You won. That's
when are you going
badass. Where do you go next?
Yeah.
Where do you move up to next? Because
I go to bed and I go to work the next day. That's what I do next.
Dennis Cowley said it, man. Dennis Cowley from the New York Stockade or Kingston Stockade. I was a huge fan and read everything he published prior to starting the Diablos because I thought that would help me shorten my learning curve. Why would I not do that? And he talked about how if you're not careful, you can fall into this paradigm that it's just this and it's just that, and you're just doing this 3-month, 4-month thing, and you can kind of lose its luster. So yes, I definitely think that there should be opportunity for clubs that do have the right pieces to the puzzle and can take some of those steps to entertain those ideas. That means, so if you want to know, like in my heart of hearts, what do you really want more than anything? I want them to rework the league standards, the professional league standards. It's called the PLS. So I would love for U.S. soccer to update, revise, and formulate a realistic professional league standards to formalize Division 4, Division 3, Division 2, and Division 1, and to start to formulate some sort of pathway. Because the only reason clubs can think about going to the higher levels in every league, when you think about any other league around the world, is because of broadcast revenue. And so as long as the league themselves don't have control over the broadcast revenue, then the entire paradigm will not survive and suffice and provide and sustain promotion and relegation, which is ultimately what I want to see for U.S. soccer.
See, I was just going to say, my thing I would change is making sure people have enough air in the soccer balls, but you went way past that.
No, man, we have a really nice Ryobi. If you get one, this is the best thing that we bought. Hats off to Brownsville. They showed us. It's a Ryobi cordless air compressor. They're like $24.99. They're super cheap, but they work with the lithium-ion batteries. And, dude, those things will crank out and air up balls like nobody's business. So, no deflate gates around here. I do wish that I would love, I would probably cry tears of joy if we ever finished a season with half of the balls that we started with. I don't know what the deal is with soccer teams, but we could never finish a season with anywhere close to the number of balls we started with. But yeah, professional league standards, they suck.
If you would have done, if we would have done our job and you would have come to Minneapolis, you would have known that our stadium backs up to Highway 94 and we lose soccer balls on the freeway like every game. So I totally get.
Oh yeah, that's brutal. That's brutal. That's even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. For what it's worth, I'll say this: the league was super awesome and brought down a bunch of brand new select balls, and I was super excited because they were like, "Hey, after the match, you can keep these." I mean, we had like 8 or 7 ball boys around this. We had a crap ton of ball boys at the national championship. I was so proud of us. And every one of them, they were like pairs of 2. They each pair had a ball. So we had brand new game balls, perfect, beautiful, pristine, gone. All 8 of them gone. But I told my wife, she was like, "Well, are you upset?" I was like, "No, man. Like, you know what? Let them have the game balls. Let them keep the corner flags. Let them take home whatever they want. I don't let them keep the jerseys. I don't care. Like, we got the natty. We got the national championship trophy. It sits over my shoulder right now. It's a beautiful beast. The we call them the Holy Trinity of your conference, regional, and national tournament. They're almost like Russian nesting dolls. They could fit inside of each other. It's funny.
Well,
yeah, that conference trophy. That's on my agenda for the first thing I'm looking to reform is the 2021 NPSL.
Yeah.
If I have
Bigger
any kind
trophy.
of sway at all,
bigger trophy
for the conference championship. The conference championship trophy is embarrassing. Regional gets a little better, but the conference is embarrassing.
We were laughing at that. I hadn't seen that before, and it looked a lot bigger in the pictures.
We call it the teacup.
That's what she said.
We call the conference trophy this year the teacup.
That's what it is. No, listen, we laughed because I have 3 trophies or 4 trophies total. I guess I take that back. I have 4 trophies we got this summer. 3 from the Diablos, 1 from the Diablos 08 team. Our 08 youth team went to Monterrey, Mexico, and finished second in the Monterrey Elite Cup against the Elite North. Yeah, it was amazing. This summer has been like the penultimate. Like, part of me thinks I should just cash it all in right now, find a buyer, sell out. You know what? Correct, because it's over. There's no way it's getting any better. But yeah, the Monterey trophy is twice as big as the conference championship. only 50% bigger than the regional championship. But thank goodness, just by an inch. Thank goodness for the top bow part. Anyway, just by an inch, the national championship trophy is taller than the 08 runner-up trophy.
They can't even drink out of it. I mean, that's just
what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point?
No, they can't. No, it's cool. I'll take a picture of it. It's funny.
They don't even need an extravagant trophy like that.
No, I know. Listen, the true story is we got it in Monterey, and so I was just going to carry it on, trying to be I'm cheap. I'm frugal. So I was just going to carry it on, like physically, like in my hand as one of my carry-on bags. And the airport security was like, "No, we won't let you take it on." I was like, "It's a trophy." And in Spanish, I'm having this discussion and and I'm not like super fluent in Spanish. I'm good enough. But I was so proud of myself for how I was like completing all and laying out my case. And I put it in the carry-on bin. It was like, "Look, it fits in the thing perfect." And they were like, "No, it's too much like a weapon. We can't let you take it on."
Weapon?
I had to so I had to pull my luggage out of checked luggage out and repack everything. It was a total nightmare. 2.5 hours at security in Monterey trying to get the trophy home. And one thing you don't plan on. Honest to God. All we wanted to do was come home, too. We were so tired, such a long trip, just wanted to come home and just getting through security with the trophy. I thought it was going to come in pieces. I thought for sure I was going to get home and I was just going to be putting our trophy back together in pieces. Like, anybody know a good welder?
I love a good trophy story. And we want to get you out of here, but we in our first year we won a trophy that was it was the Summit Beer Keg trophy. Basically, our sponsor Summit Brewing Company gave us like a pony keg, and we decorated it as a trophy for a one-off match. And we celebrated it so much that we forgot to take it home from the field, and then we happened to play at that field like 3 days later, and it was just sitting next to the bench.
Oh,
we're like, "Hey,
that's
there
amazing."
It is. There it is.
I left the Monterey Elite Trophy. We had to switch from the compound villa we were staying in as a team back to the hotel before we flew out. And when we checked in, I just set it down on the table, and then everybody went up to their room, and we were all like, "Hey, where's the trophy?" I was like, "Oh, it's downstairs." And it's like 3.5 hours later. To your point, I went down there. That and my Coke was still sitting there right now. I was like, "All right, well, everybody's cool. Thank you."
Yeah, thanks for not stealing our trophy.
It happens. Yeah, it happens. It happens to the best of us, boys. Don't worry. We're in good company.
Well, Damon Gochner, owner of the Denton Diablos, co-owner of Denton Diablos, of the 2021 NPSL Champion Denton Diablos. One last...
Put some respect on our name.
That's right. Just one last question. I want to know if you are aware of the uproar that I think it was your conference champion or your semifinal victory, one of the trophies that you'd won, caused because there's a picture of you on Twitter of you just celebrating your ass off with this trophy, and the beard, man, the beard is luxurious, and I think everyone,
thank you,
in the booth, everyone around the club, as we were getting ready to host the Midwest finals, talking about it, like, man, did you see the guy from Denton's beard? That is just like the best. So I gotta ask, does the beard have a name? Does the beard have its own
Twitter account?
Have its own bedroom? You gotta treat a beard like that really well.
Twitter account. It has its own brush. But no, and all it does at this point is cause me sheer anxiety. I just have a lot of nightmares about like screwing it up or chopping it off, or yeah, true story. About once a week, I have a nightmare that like somebody has like cut my beard while I'm sleeping or done something mistakenly. Yeah, no, it's kind of important. But no, listen, I tell people all the time, like some of my greatest things in life are like I just got super lucky. My kids are amazing, and like that has nothing like that was the easiest work I've ever done in my life. Close second is
sorry to your wife.
No, but I'm like, but like, you know what I mean? Close second's the beard. Like the kids are number one, and that's because of her. But like that whole process was not hard. You know what I mean? Creating my children was easy. The beard was just like, I actually enjoyed that. The beard is just sheer lazy, man. Like I'm super lazy in the fact that I didn't want to shave my face every day, and I'm a hairy guy, so it's a gift and a curse, right? I got a lot of hair on my head. Like it is what it is. So no, I'm fortunate enough that I can grow a pretty decent beard.
Just great genetics.
It like, you know, if that is the marker of great genetics, then yes, I have done well in that gene pool. So my brother can't grow a very good beard though, for what it's worth. His comes in a little weird sometimes. So everybody's different. I do, man. That's part of why I grow it. Like if you got a beard that looks halfway decent as mine does, then yes. No, I got that's a funny story too. But yeah, my wife gets like pretty like, you know, you should just cut it so people don't just randomly come up to you and say like, oh my God, dude, your beard is so epic. Like, I know. Sometimes it gets kind of awkward. And I don't
tired of the attention.
Yeah.
I don't mean that like some douche.
And then you went and won the national championship and you're getting stopped in the Olive Garden.
I know. True story. No, listen, true story. The Olive Garden. I'm waiting for that sponsorship, man. I'm plugging the hell out of this Olive. Like, you guys see me working Olive Garden. Like, yeah, cool. You replied via Twitter. No, I need that sponsorship. We got one spot left on that right shoulder, which point number 2 with NPSL. We'll put our patch on the right shoulder like every other league in the world. Champions League, everybody puts the patch on the right shoulder. The left shoulder is where sponsors go. Whatever, not the NPSL. Anyway, yes.
Speaking of things you get fined for, we
yes.
we know that game as far as because ours was on our right shoulder for 3 years.
Oh yeah.
And now there's a crow wing on the right shoulder instead of the left shoulder.
Well played. Yeah, I know the minimum standards for NPSL all too well. And you know what? Listen, 95% of the time, I support and applaud all of the efforts. Like, I want us to be better in the NPSL than other 4-letter and acronym leagues. So, you know, without saying it, I'll say it. We should be the class of, you know, lower level soccer. Mm-hmm. So, we're
with teams like the Diablos, man, how can the NPSL not be eventually? It's great to be in the company of teams like yourself when you talk about kind of the cool forward-thinking teams of the NPSL. And so really great to have you on the show tonight, man. Hopefully we'll be able to connect in person someday at some party at some NPSL national convention here or there.
Or at a game. We could do that.
we could
listen,
do that.
my first NPSL convention was in Minneapolis.
I know.
It was 18, November 2018. Yeah, is that right? Yeah. God, it was cold. Lord have mercy, it was cold. That's all I remember. Is it was just. I take that back. Minneapolis was a beautiful city. I loved the architecture. People are really, really friendly. The food is delicious. It was brutally cold. I remember having I bought a Puma parka, Puma long gear, because we didn't have anything for the club winter gear wise. And it was just dust in the wind. It wasn't even close. Nope, this thing's not going to cut it. No. We're going to need a North Face Tri-Climate 3-layer goose down. Yep. Get the gloves, boys. Yeah. So it was woefully unprepared and inadequately staffed. So it's a gorgeous city.
If we never do anything of national attention in the NPSL as a club, our biggest coup was convincing all of the owners to not go to Florida and to come to Minnesota in late November, early December.
It's amazing. Whoever sold that deal really needs a raise.
It's a wonderful.
You guys got a lot of good clubs up there. No, no, Duluth, they got a good deal going. They're good, the social, all the stuff they do. The Torrent, really good, another good club. You guys got a pretty good conference and a pretty good region up there. So it's
awesome.
Good. What did we do? Nashville
Damon,
2 years ago. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and before you were there was the infamous trip to New Orleans, which we won't talk about that one. That can go on for many hours. Yeah, exactly. Well, Damon, thank you so much for being on. Again, congratulations. Like we said, we like it better when folks we call our own that are like-minded get to lift the trophy versus the dusty old guards. So congratulations again. Thank you so much for joining us, and here's to 2022.
Oh, pleasure was all mine, gentlemen. Pleasure was absolutely all mine. Thank you again for having me on. Never get tired of talking about the 2021 NPSL National Championship of the Denton Diablos. But, yes, super looking forward to 2022 and maybe getting a chance to see you guys finally get a chance at the Murder Crows. We would definitely cherish that. So, yeah, thank you again for having me on.
No problem, man. Have a good rest of your weekend and the remainder of the non-soccer year, we'll call it.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Have a good night.
And that is it for this week's show. We had one job, and we did it with perfection. Thanks again to Damon from the Denton Diablos, and thank you to our show sponsor, FootballStadiumPrints.com. If you want to upgrade your grody dresser drawers, FootballStadiumPrints.com has hella nice shirts with hella nice designs. They've got t-shirts, wall arts, even mugs rocking original art featuring all of the most radical clubs from across the planet, especially the Nelly, the home of the most bodacious crows. But hold the phone, muchacho. There's more to get stoked about. City fans can head on over to footballstadiumprints.com and use the code CROWS10, that's CROWS10, to save 10% off your orders. That's CROWS10, and if you can get gnarly with the home of the Crows wherever you are, thank you again to our friends at footballstadiumprints.com. Wow, totally butchering this one. Remember, comrades, footballstadiumprints.com may be from jolly old England, but all U.S. orders ship right here from the U.S. of A. So there's no bogus international shipping charges. If you have purchased anything before, please go over to the old Google review machine and put in a plug for how happy you are with any of those purchases. If giving back to the community means a lot to you, maybe it's time to give to the club that loves to give back. Minneapolis City is a 501c3 that provides a safe, reliable, and fun environment for young people to play the beautiful game, like through the Futures Program Scholarship Fund. So consider a tax-deductible donation to a truly city-focused organization. Send us mail. It's easy to do. Hit us up on Twitter at The People's Pitch, or through email at mcscpodcast@gmail.com. All questions, comments, and concerns are welcome. And finally, as always, complain to Dan, complain to the club, on Twitter at MPLSCitySC. Thanks again for joining us this week, as that does it. I am John, that was Nate, and thank you so much again to Damon Gopner, the devil himself from the Denton Diablos, 2021 national champion Denton Diablos. And of course, we got